everyone, welcome to your mini flows class. All body weight today, so you're not going to need any additional equipment or props. And we're going to focus on the side body. So obliques, outer hips, glutes, shoulders. At the end, we will kind of bring everything to center, but for the bulk of this, side body. If you're new to mini flows classes, best way to describe these is to picture a Pilates mat class. We're essentially taking a little snippet of a Pilates mat sequence and turning it into a circuit. So our little mini sequences, our mini flows today will be between 2 and 3 minutes and 45 seconds long. You will, once you complete them, you get to rest, and then you would repeat them. The first 2 flows are unilateral work, so we'll do them twice on the right, then twice on the left. Our final one is bilateral. We'll go through that one 3 times. And in between each of the flows, you get a full minute to recover, and during that time, I will show you a preview of the upcoming sequence. Now, we'll start with a warm-up and finish with a quick cool down. Our warm-up is going to kind of flow right into our first sequence, though, so I'm going to give you a little preview of that one now. Just store it in your mind for later so that we can move quickly from the warm-up right into the bulk of our work. Our first flow is a side body series. Now you're going to be propped up kind of like you would be in a side plank, but with your hips down. First up, it's just going to be a top leg lift. So that top leg stays straight, lifts up to about hip height and lowers. You then hold it at hip height and you're going to trace little circles. We'll go in one direction and then we will switch direction of those circles. From there, we have a combo. So we lower and lift the leg just like we did to start, and then the hips are going to lift up into a side plank, and you do a top leg lift and lower with your hips up in that side plank. You then lower the hips to the ground and keep going in that pattern. We finish with a quick side plank hold at the top. So just kind of store that in the back of your mind for later, and let's get into our warm-up. To start, just come to a comfortable cross-legged seated position. We want to open up through the sides of our body. So take your right arm and we're going to side bend over to the left. And then staying within this side bend, we're going to find some rotation. So on an exhale, your chest is going to rotate down towards the floor. And then on an inhale, up towards the ceiling. Exhale. As you exhale, ribs move in and down. As you inhale, you're thinking of expanding into that side body. Last time this side. Come through your side bend, and then let's just take it up and over to the other side. So your left arm reaches up, side bend over to the right, and on an exhale, rotate down. Inhale slightly up. One more time. Come through your center side bend and up tall. From here, your hands are just going to move behind you. You're going to uncross your legs and you're going to bring the feet. They can be a little wider than hips distance apart in front of you, and you can lean back slightly. So we're going to windshield wiper the knees. We're going to windshield wiper them. Let this hip come off of the mat, and then you're going to bring that right arm and you're going to twist over to the side. Come back through center. Now drop your knees over to the right. Left arm lifts off the floor, twist open. Back through center. Keep going like that. So we're keeping the twisting theme going through the spine, opening up through the side body, and now just inviting some movement in through the hip joint. One more each side. And then from here, you're going to come through center. Arms are going to reach forward. I'm just turning to the side. You don't have to. And I just want you to roll down to the mat, vertebrae by vertebrae. Keep your knees bent, feet flat. Arms can come down by your side. We're going to come into hip release now to really focus in on mobilizing through the hip joint. So let's start with the left leg. On an inhale, you're going to drop the knee open to the side, finding external rotation. And as you do, you're going to elongate, sliding the foot down the length of your mat. Once the leg is long, on an exhale, you're going to internally rotate the leg, bend the knee, bring it back to start. Twice more this direction. And then we're just going to switch that. So now as you inhale, internal rotation, so the left knee goes in towards the right knee slightly, elongate, find external rotation, bend the knee, bring it to start. Twice more. As you do this, you're trying to stabilize through the pelvis. So you don't want rocking side to side. Last time here. And then just bring it over to the right. As you inhale, knee drops open, slide that leg long. As you exhale, internal rotation, bend it back to start. Sorry if you can hear my grippy socks squeaking on my mat. Usually I prefer to do, especially this kind of work, barefoot, but the pedicure situation is not okay. Okay, switch direction of the circle. So now as you inhale, internal rotation, slide it long. As you exhale, external rotation, slide it back. So the feet had to be covered today. Grippy socks it is. And done. All right, one last thing in this warm-up, it's going to be a hip roll. Inhale to prepare, and then as you exhale, we're going to come into a bridge position, but we're going to roll into it. So as you exhale, hips start to draw towards your ribs using your obliques, and fire through the glutes. Lift those hips up vertebrae by vertebrae into your long hip bridge. Stay for an inhale. And then as you exhale, vertebrae by vertebrae, mid-spine through lower spine, roll that pelvis back through neutral. Again, inhale to prepare. As you exhale, roll the hips towards the bottom ribs. Peel the hips up. Stay for an inhale at the top. Exhale, roll it down. Back through neutral. Final time, inhale to prepare. Exhale, engage the obliques, then drive the feet into the floor, firing through the glutes. On your next exhale, roll it back down to start. Okay, we're going to come into our side body work. So you'll mirror me. You're just going to roll onto your left side, and the focus will be on this right top leg and the bottom left side body. So the setup for this one is important. You want to make sure that your elbow and your heels are in line with each other, okay? So you're basically in a side plank position, but your hips are down, or that bottom hip is down on the mat. Now we need to stay really active through our obliques. So instead of sinking into that shoulder, I want you to think of pulling the side body away from the floor. And when you engage with your obliques like that, you'll notice it almost takes some weight out of the shoulder so that it's supported. Now from here, this top leg is going to lift and lower. You're going to flex your bottom foot and ground it down into the mat. You're going to point as you lift. You're going to flex as you lower. And I want you to think about reaching long through the leg. So you don't want to lift up and then collapse into the side body. Now you might notice that your leg isn't going up as high as when we do this same move, but laying our whole side body all the way down to the mat, and that is okay. We're going to hold at the top coming up next. And if pointing and flexing is confusing, just lift and lower with it either pointed or flexed, okay? Hold at the top, foot is pointed, and I want you to trace little circles. Doesn't matter the direction. Now we're tracing these circles within the hip joint, but the hips are not moving. So you want to keep that pelvis stable. Keep reaching that leg long. Keep lifting through the side body. Switch direction of those little circles. Now we're going to come back to our lift and lower of the top leg, but we are going to add in a side plank lift as well. We'll do one rep just normal with the hips staying down like we started with. All right, so I want you to flex the foot lower. Now on an exhale, hips lift up, you're in a side plank. Do a top leg lift, point lift. Flex lower, lower the hips. One leg lift, keeping the hips down. Exhale, hips up. One leg lift here. You're here for 45 seconds. Now when you're in the side plank, you want to keep those hips stacked, one on top of the other. So try not to roll open. Exhale, lift. We're going to finish these with a hold in the side plank. If you can, top leg will be hovering. If that's too much though, don't worry. Hold. Final 15 seconds, you got it. Hips are square. Chest is open. Woo, hips down, rest. Bend the knees. Let's take a quick side body stretch. Okay, we're going to go same sequence, same side. Left forearm comes down, legs reach long. Lift to the side body, top leg lifts and lowers. Point to lift, exhale to lower. Don't worry about how high up that leg is getting, okay? It really only has to come to hip height. Hold at the top, foot is pointed, little circles. stabilizing through the pelvis. So these are quarter-size circles. They're tiny. Keep reaching the leg long. Switch direction of the circle. So we're going to go back to our lift and lower, adding in that side plank lift. The side plank lift is tough with the feet stacked. So you'll follow me through the first rep. Flex your foot, lower it. Feet are stacked. On an exhale, hips lift up into your side plank. One top leg lift, lower. Hips come down but stay active through the side body. Lift the leg, lower the leg. Come to side plank. Keep this going. Coming up, we will finish with that side plank hold. Top leg hovering if possible. If that's not happening, then don't even worry about it. Hold. Final 15 seconds this side. You got it. Hips are square. Keep lifting up through those hips. Woo! Hips lower, bend the knees. Counter stretch. Okay, you have 30 seconds to rest here. We're gonna do that same thing twice on the other side. So mirroring me, you'll just flip around. Now our right forearm will be down. Let's get into position. So right forearm is down. Remember, elbow and heels are kind of lined up. So you're in one long line, super engaged through the side body. Top leg is gonna lift and lower. Let's go. Point to lift, flex to lower. And you're not thinking about reaching the leg up as high as possible, because if you go too high, what's going to happen? This top hip bone is going to roll towards your ribs, and we don't want that. And just make sure that your elbow is right under the shoulder. If it's too far out, it's going to be really awkward when we get into that side plank lift. Hold at the top, foot is pointed, little circles, stable pelvis, engage to the side body. So it looks simple, but there's a lot going on here. It's not just the moving leg that we're focused on. Switch direction of those little circles. We're going to come back to that lift and lower, adding in our side plank lift. So we have that combo. Flex the foot as you lower. Feet are stacked. On an exhale, hips lift up into your side plank. Top leg lifts and lowers. Hips lower down, but we don't collapse into the shoulder. We stay lifted through the side body. In general, as long as you're breathing, I'm happy, but I would like you to exhale on the lift up into the side plank. We have that hold coming up. Hold your side plank. If possible, top leg is lifted. 15 seconds. Hips are square. Woo, and down. Quick counter stretch. Hi, Pickles. A quick recovery, okay? Right back into it. Find that long position. Lift it through the side body. Top leg lifts and lowers. Last time you're going to see this sequence, okay? We will switch it up. This top hand, fingertips can be on the floor in front for support, or you can always reach it long or have it on your hip. Hold at the top, trace those little circles. Doesn't matter the direction you start. They are tiny circles. Stay engaged to the side body. I know this is tough for the shoulder as well. You got it. Switch direction. We have that side plank, leg lift combo up next. Flex the foot and lower. Try not to rush that lift and lower when your hips are in the side plank. I know it's tempting because you want to get those hips back to the ground. You got it. We have under 30 seconds left in this first flow. We have that side plank hold coming up to finish. Final 15 seconds, you can do it. Let's go. If your top leg was hovering on the first side, try to hover it on this side. You got it. And done. Shaking like a leaf on that one. Counter stretch. Okay, I'm going to show you our next flow while you recover. First up, it is going to be a mermaid. So you're just tilting over and exhaling to come up. We then keep that mermaid going, but we just add in an extension of the arms when we're at the bottom. From there, we hold over in that mermaid. Bottom fingertips are going to be on the mat for support, and on an exhale, you just remove the support and replace it. From there, that hand plants firmly down. We're going to abduct the top leg, lift it up, lower it down, and then we're going to adduct the bottom knee up and down, just alternating between the two. We then lift that top leg up, bend the knee, and we're going to kind of swing that shape forward and back, getting a little flexion and extension through the hip joint. We then turn that into a combo. So you hinge the knee forward, you kick it straight, you sweep that leg back, you bend the knee. And we finish up the sequence with the leg straight, and it's just a little pulse up and down. Right knee is going to be down and left leg is going to extend out straight. Square your hips, so you might need to move this leg forward or back. Elbows are going to be wide, hands behind the head, not so wide that you puff out through the rib cage. And we're going to start with our mermaid. So on an inhale, we're going to tilt over to the side, and then on an exhale, you're going to bring yourself back upright. As you exhale, think of contracting through the side body to drag yourself upright. And you need to stay engaged through the glutes so that you're not arching into your low back. Now coming up, all we're going to do is add in a pause at the bottom, and we'll extend those arms out in kind of a wide V shape and then bring them back in behind the head. So you're going to tilt it over. You're going to straighten those arms. You're going to bend them back in behind the head. Exhale yourself back up tall. So I'm feeling fairly tight through my hips. So I'm not going over very far. This is my range of motion for the day. Yours might be a lot bigger or smaller than mine, and that is okay. Coming up next, we're going to hold the hinge. All right, hold the hinge. Now bring your bottom right fingertips to the mat, okay? So we're probably a lot lower than you just were. On an exhale, you take the hand off the mat. Inhale, replace it. Exhale. Keep drawing this top hip forward, okay, so that the hips stay square. Up next, this bottom hand will plant all the way down on the mat, and we'll alternate between lifting this left leg and then lifting the bottom right leg. Okay, so now plant firmly down. Top leg is going to lift up to hip height and lower down. Plant the foot on the mat. Bottom knee lifts up and lowers back. Alternate between the two. Abduction, abduction. You're here for 45. And if it's more comfortable to straighten out this top arm at this time, go for it. Up next, this top leg is going to stay lifted, but we'll bend the knee. Hold this top leg, bend the knee. Now you're going to swing the knee forward, and you're going to swing it back. If you'd like to come back up to tented fingertips on the supporting right side, if that's more comfortable for your body, go for it. Swinging and open and close. Now, as you do this, I want you to picture I'm balancing something on the outside of that knee. So keep the shape level as it swings forward and back. We're going to come into that combo up next, okay? So this is still the base of the movement. We'll just add in a straightening of the leg. So next time you swing that knee forward, pause. Now kick that leg straight. Straight leg sweeps back. Bend at the knee. Keep that going. Hinge it forward. So it's like a pedaling motion. Now you can play around with the angle of this bottom shin. It might point straight back. It might point at an angle, okay? Do what works best for your hips. We have just one more piece to this. We will hold the legs straight, and it'll just be straight leg pulses. Kick that leg straight, little pulses, up and up, up and up. Stay lifted through the side body so we're not sinking into this bottom shoulder. And done. Bring it up. Okay, 15 seconds to rest. We're gonna do that same sequence, same side. Square those hips, hands behind the head, elbows wide. We start with our mermaid. Inhale it over. Exhale, connect to the abdominals to bring yourself up to the top. And now you want to be as upright as possible so that this is purely lateral flexion. So if you're feeling your low back kind of get a little pinchy here, you might be leaning back and arching into it. So again, gentle squeeze of the seat. And almost think of kind of leaning your chest forward. Now add in the extension of the arms when you're in your tilt. We will hold the tilt. The tilt will be a lot deeper, and bottom fingertips will come to the mat up next. Okay, bottom fingertips come to the mat. On an exhale, remove them. Inhale down, exhale, lift it away. Try not to transfer too much weight into the fingertips, okay? We want our side body supporting us. Hand will plant all the way down to the mat up next. We'll come into that top leg lift, bottom leg lift combo. When this bottom hand comes down, plant it. It should be in line with your heel. Top leg lifts and lowers. Plant the foot. Bottom knee lifts up and down. Now when you lift this top leg, don't sink down through the waist, so think about staying lifted. So that might mean the range of motion isn't huge. That's okay. This left leg does not have to come any higher than the hips, and it might not even get that high. We're gonna hold that top leg lifted up next. We'll bend the knee, and we'll start with just that swing. Hold that top leg, bend the knee. Shape swings forward, shape swings back. So it's hip flexion and hip extension, but we're also hitting the outer side body here by keeping it lifted and level. So remember, you're balancing something on the outside of that knee. Now squeeze through your bottom side glutes as well, because as best you can, you want to keep the hip stacked on top of that knee. We're going to add in that straightening of the legs, so it'll be that pedaling motion. So the knee swings forward. Kick that leg straight. Straight leg sweeps back. Bend at the knee. Now when you straighten this leg, I don't want you to tuck your tailbone under and round through the spine. So keep reaching that tailbone long. So I know when I kick my leg straight, it's at an angle. It's not straight out in front of me. I'm a little too tight for that, and that's okay. Keep the leg lifted. Straight leg pulses to finish. Reach that leg long, little lifts, up and up. and rest. Okay, 30 seconds to recover. We're gonna do that same thing on the other side. Okay, so we're gonna set up for our mermaid with our left knee down and the right leg extended long. Square through those hips, gentle squeeze of the seat so that we are neutral through the pelvis. And then from here, we'll go into our mermaid. Now I'm cueing elbows wide, fingers behind the head lightly, but if you would rather wrap an arm around your waist or both hands cross your chest, if that's more comfortable for your shoulders, go for it. All right, let's go. Inhale, side bend. Exhale. Really think about using this right side body to contract and drag you back up to the top. Up next, we'll just add in that extension of the arms at the bottom of each rep. So next time you're in that side bend position, you pause, arms straighten, they bend, and then come up. If you're using an alternate arm position, you could always just pause at the bottom and keep the arms where they are. We're gonna go into that even deeper side bend up next. Bottom left fingertips will be on the mat. All right, bottom fingertips come to the mat, but don't transfer much weight into them. On an exhale, pull the hand away. I want you to think about starting the exhale, connecting to the abdominals, then remove the hand. So make sure you have that core bracing before you remove the support. This left hand will plant all the way down on the mat. Up next, top leg will lift, bottom leg will lift. All right, plant it all the way down. So your top leg lifts up and plants to the mat. Bottom knee up to tap the top and then lower it down. Now, as you do this, keep reaching your top right hip forward slightly so that the hips stay square. Your bottom knee will stay down up next. Top leg will be lifted and we'll bend the knee. Plant that bottom knee down, lift that top leg, bend the knee. We swing it open so that we're open across the front of the hip joint and then swing it forward. So as you do this, you're trying to maintain the shape with the rest of your body so that it is just this top leg swinging forward and back. And again, if you want to come to tented fingertips on the bottom arm, if that's more comfortable for you, go for it. We'll add in that pedaling motion, adding on to this. So swing the knee forward, straighten the leg. Straight leg sweeps back, bend the knee. With as little wiggling through the torso as possible. Easier said than done. Big core challenge here. Now I want you to notice, as your leg swings forward, are you hinging back? You need to stay a little more engaged through the bottom side glutes, if that's the case, which it was just the case for me. Straight leg pulses to finish. Up an inch, reach long through that leg. Woo, push yourself back up to that starting mermaid position. All right, last time through this combo. Square those hips. Find your mermaid position. We start with that side bend. Glutes are active. Inhale it over. Exhale, bring it up. Now, I don't care how low you're getting, but I want you to notice as you start to fatigue, is this turning into like a 1-inch movement? Go as low as you can, maintaining that proper alignment. Add in the extension of the arms. Bottom fingertips to the mat up next. Left fingertips to the mat. On an exhale, pull the support away. Bottom hand plants down up next. Top leg lifts, bottom leg lifts. Plant it down. Top leg lifts and plants. Bottom knee lifts, so side plank, and then lowers. Now when you lower this bottom knee, try not to lower it at a diagonal. Try to return it into that fallen tabletop position. So you have to stay lifted through the side body to do that. Bottom knee will stay down, top leg will stay lifted up next. Bottom knee down, top leg lifted, knee is bent. We swing it open and closed. Again, you can play around with the angle of your bottom shin, so find a position that works for your hips. We'll take it to that pedaling motion up next. Knee comes forward, leg straightens. Straight leg sweeps back, bend the knee. And you can play around with the positioning of your top arm, okay? If you want to reach it up to the ceiling, have it on your hip, keep the hand behind your head. Anything's fine with me. Straight leg pulses coming up to finish. You got it. Final 15 seconds. Let's go. Straighten out that leg. Picture from the top of your head to the tip of your toes. One long line. And done. Awesome job. All right, you have a minute to recover. I'm going to show you our final sequence. So we just did all this side body work. Let's finish class by bringing it to center. First up, you're in an ab curl position. 1 foot at a time, drops towards the mat and lifts. From there, we make it a little harder. Both legs drop and lift at the same time. From there, funky little combo. Legs are going to be together. You drop them all the way to the mat, and then you lift up into a bridge position. But as you lift your hips up, you roll to the outer edges of your feet and your knees go wide. So it's like a frog bridge. And you reverse it. As you lower the hips, the knees come back in tight together, and then you lift them up to tabletop. We finish by holding that frog bridge position. First, you're going to squeeze the knees in towards each other, and then you're going to pulse the hips down and up to finish. It's 2 minutes, 45 seconds long, I believe. All right, let's get to it. So laying down, you want to be neutral through the spine, engage through your abdominal wall, and on an exhale, you're going to bring 1 foot at a time off of the mat, coming to a tabletop position. Hands behind the head, elbows wide, and then we're going to come into an ab curl. Maintaining the ab curl, we're going to drop 1 foot at a time down towards the mat. Legs can be about hips distance apart to start. So you're going to inhale as you drop one leg, exhale, lift it up other side. You don't want the low back arching up to the ceiling as you do this, so you're trying to maintain that supported neutral throughout the range of movement. Coming up next, we're going to zip those legs together, so you'll squeeze them into midline, and both legs will drop and lift as one. You're not going to actually touch the floor when you do that. So squeeze the legs together. Now on an inhale, both feet reach towards the floor. Exhale back to tabletop. Maintain that ab curl. You're not jamming your chin down to your chest, but the gaze is at your knees. There is that little nod to the chin. We have that combo coming up next. Feet will lower all the way to the mat. When we do it though, first we're going to lower our head and arms are going to come down by our side. So lower your head, arms down by your side. Now as you inhale, feet come all the way to the mat. They plant on the mat together. As you exhale, you lift the hips, you roll to the outer edges of your feet, knees come open. You're in this wide open diamond-shaped bridge. As you lower the hips to the mat, knees close in together, feet flatten. Exhale, lift those knees to tabletop. Keep that going. Now, when you lift those hips up into that bridge position, I don't want you hyperextending through your low back. So you need to think of squeezing through the glutes. We're going to hold that bridge position up next. So next time you're in that bridge position, you're on the outer edges of your feet, hips are lifted, and it's a squeeze in to center. Those knees squeeze in towards each other. Now you stay on the outer edges of your feet, so your knees probably aren't going to actually touch, and that is fine. Think of reaching your tailbone long, and without actually moving your feet, think of drawing the heels towards your shoulders, just so that you're really active here. We're going to switch the pulse. Now instead of in and out, you're going to lower the hips an inch, up an inch, lower an inch, exhale, lift. And rest, 15 seconds. Okay, twice more through that. So even though we're centered, we have flexion, extension through the hips. We have that rotation within the hip joint. On an exhale, bring those knees up to tabletop. Find your ab curl position, 1 foot at a time, drops to the mat. So throughout this whole series, your head, neck, and shoulders are going to be supported. Because I know sometimes all that side plank work, sometimes the side of your neck can get a little cranky because it is a big challenge. So we're going to have our hands either here or the head will be rested on the mat. Coming up next, legs will come together. Both will drop and lift at the same time. Squeeze those legs together. Inhale, they drop. Doesn't have to be huge. Exhale, back to tabletop. And when you pull them back to tabletop, really try to stop when they're right over your hips. Don't roll, okay? We have that hip bridge combo up next. First, we'll lower our head to the mat, arms down by our side. Lower your head to the mat, arms down by your side. Inhale, feet plant on the ground, they're together. Exhale, as you lift the hips up into your bridge, you roll to the outer edges of your feet, knees go open, really squeeze the seat at the top. As you lower the hips to the mat, knees come in together, feet flatten. Exhale, pick those knees back to tabletop. So take your time through this, okay? It's mindful movement. We're connecting to the core and the glutes, moving with control through that hip joint, rotation within it, flexion. We'll hold the hip bridge position up next. It'll be in that diamond shape. So you'll be on the outer edges of your feet, knees will be wide. Hold. Now from here, really squeeze to the seat, and then you squeeze into center. I don't know if anyone else's mom had, back in the day, like the 90s, had that Suzanne Summers, like weird piece of foam fitness equipment that you put between your inner thighs and squeeze. That's what this is reminding me of. We'll switch the pulse to finish. Hips will go down and up. Now hips lower an inch, elongate through the glutes, contract the glutes. Again, think of drawing your heels towards your shoulders without actually moving them, so that you're really connected. And rest. Lower the hips down, hug knees into chest. Okay, one more time through, and then you are done with class. This is kind of a nice way to finish, I think. Is it the hardest flow of the day? No. Come into your ab curl, 1 foot at a time, drops to the mat and lifts. What I was going to say is does this one pack maybe the biggest burn compared to the other two? No, but it's important. We're trying to connect to our core. And sometimes the seemingly easiest movements are the ones that are hardest to do correctly. Legs will squeeze in together, both will drop and lift together now. Squeeze them in. They drop and lift. Feet do not have to touch the floor. I'm only going like 6 inches because if I go any lower, my low back is going to arch up to the ceiling. Head, neck, and shoulders will lower down to the mat. Arms by your side. We'll come into our combo. Lower your head, arms plant firmly down by your side, feet are still together. You lower them all the way to the mat. As you lift those hips, you roll to the outer edges of your feet, opening up. Close through them, and then on an exhale, connect through your core to bring those knees back up to tabletop. Pick the feet off of the mat without rolling through your lumbar spine. So you stay neutral. We will hold that hip bridge up next to finish up. Hold. You're on the outer edges of your feet. Squeeze through the seat. Think of reaching your tailbone long. So you're not flaring open through the rib cage. If your rib cage is puffed open, that means you're probably hyperextending into your low back instead of using your glutes to keep those hips lifted. We'll pulse the hips down and up to finish. Down an inch, up an inch. Now, when you drop the hips an inch, think about kind of maintaining a neutral spine. So I don't want you to drop the hips and arch into your back and then come to neutral. I want everything to lower and lift. And done. Lower those hips to the mat. Hug the knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a little rock side to side. Awesome work today. I'm just going to bring you through some quick stretches. Let's start with a figure 4 since we're already down on the mat. Right ankle crosses over left thigh, and you can hug that left thigh in towards your chest. Using your right elbow to kind of push that right knee out to the side a little more if you need something deeper. And then we're going to keep our legs in this figure 4 position. We're just going to drop the whole shape over to the left. First, I want you to plant down through that left foot. Then you're going to drop the shape over to the left until your right foot plants down on the floor. So you should feel this more outer hip. And sorry, I think I just messed up my rights and lefts on this stretch, but that's okay. As long as it's not during the class and it's just the stretch, you can figure it out. Bringing it up through center. Let's just take it over to the other side. Left ankle crosses over right thigh. Hug the thigh in towards your chest. Figure 4. And we're going to drop the whole shape over to the right until our left foot plants down on the floor. And in this twist, it might feel good to goalpost your arms, a little opening through the chest. We're gonna come back through center and hands wrapping around our thighs. I just want you to rock yourself up and back a couple times until you come up into a comfortable seated position. And we're gonna finish class same way we started, a little side bend. So we're gonna take your right arm, sweep it up and over, and then fluidly, let's just move over, up and over to the other side. Keep that going. And then as we sway up and over, it might feel good to add in a little rotation. So as you side bend, maybe you rotate slightly to the floor. And maybe you don't. One more time each side. And then coming up through center, let's just take one deep breath to finish. Inhale, arm sweep up. And exhale, release. Awesome work today. That is your class.